Good evening. Welcome to Talk Local. I'm your host, Tania Kolar. The widely dreaded Harmonized Sales Tax, the HST, is now in full force. What does this mean for consumers? Will the tax reform stimulate economic development, or is it simply another assault on consumer confidence and purse strings? Tonight, our panel of experts are here to answer your questions. You can be a voice here on Talk Local and join in the conversation by calling 905-848-LIVE. That's 905-848-5483. And tell us what you think about the HST now in effect. Let's welcome our first guests to the panel. Joining us live in studio is Bob Delaney, MPP for Mississauga-Streetsville, and George Shalamay. George Shalamay is the Executive Director of the Mississauga Condominium Alliance. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here live in studio tonight.
Thank you for
Always a pleasure.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so now the HST, of course, has been a concern, a wide concern for many out there. So it is here, it is in full force, effective, of course, July 1st. So ultimately, now, tell us about the HST. Does it actually stimulate economic development and create jobs? Because I think that's a big concern, particularly coming out of a recession.
I think you started on the right note. You have to ask yourself, why would a government do this if it failed to do exactly that? And what's the net effect of the removal of a tax, the provincial sales tax, which is a Cold War relic? It's expensive, it's cumbersome, it's outdated. It taxes and retaxes and retaxes and retaxes things, so that in effect many times people are not paying 8%. They're paying somewhere in between 12 and, wait for it, sometimes upwards of 30 or 40%, depending on how long the supply chain is.
George, let's talk about the Condominium Alliance. What is the role of the Condominium Alliance?
Okay. I'm here representing Mississauga Condominium Alliance. This is a joint voice of condominium corporations in Mississauga area. At the last general meeting of Mississauga Condominium Alliance, we had 31 condominium corporations represented. Spent a lot of efforts advocating against the HST. And let's talk about HST and how it impacts condominium industry. Well, first of all, I would like to mention a couple of things. Still, I believe it's a huge negative effect on the condominium industry and condominium corporations. The problem is that as every consumer, we are just consumers. We are unable to claim this as a tax credit. Okay, unlike businesses, for example, any business can claim this as a tax credit. Consumers and condominium corporations, we cannot do this. So this impacted condominium industry in two specific areas: operating budget and reserve fund. So in operating budget, we see increase about 6.7 up to 7% increase in condominium fees, because we pay services. We have lawyers, engineers, name it, and it's all services.
Okay, so a lot of maintenance you'd be referring to.
Yes,
okay.
So we are looking at increase about 6.7% for annual budget. Now, for reserve fund, it's again a huge issue is that it impacted negatively reserve funds. We are seeing about 4.5 increase in reserve funds.
Right.
So it's a big issue for all condominium corporations.
Right. We're going to talk more, of course, about how the HST does affect condominiums and housing. And Bob, how do you feel about the HST when it comes to housing? Is the HST fair across the board?
It is. A condo corporation, for example, is there to simply flow costs through to the end users, the renters, the owners. And the benefits rest in the hands of the renters or the owners. So, for example, among the things that benefit directly owners of condos, the HST and the GST don't apply to condo maintenance fees, period, full stop. There is no, there wasn't any before, there is none now. The other thing is that condo corporations are going to see savings from their suppliers. The cost of the things that are consumed in the operation of a condo building are going to go down, and The experience in the Atlantic provinces, which harmonized their taxes in the late 1990s, showed exactly that. The cost of things declined.
Okay,
George is quite correct, by the way, in saying the cost of services will go up. But in order to compensate the rise in the cost of services, the people who ultimately pay the bill, which is going to be the owner or the renter, have seen their income taxes cut permanently, their sales tax credits increased permanently, the senior homeowner property tax, because a lot of condo owners are